Good morning everyone and welcome back to Mr. Bravo's workshop. Okay, so where are we? Okay, yesterday we did a lot of the guns and the lights and bits and pieces, medium ammunition, small ammunition, and pretty much got all the ammo filled up on the ship. Most of these guns that were barely on there have all fallen off now and they're all off to one side here. So I'll put them on later. So where are we now? We're not going to put these on just yet because they're last, only because they stick out past the ship. So we'll technically get ready to work out what we're going to do today. So we did section 37 last time. Hang on. So there's the 3 sections we did last time and they're all finished, and I do believe in the last one where I commented where I do believe there's a mistake, there is a mistake there, that they've got this closed when it actually should be open. So there's the next page, and I'll bring that in closer. So that is section 38, 39 and 40, which is all about boats, but I'm not going to do the boats until very last. So let's move on to the next section. So the next section is 42. Now, I did not look on the next page. If the next page is no more next page, then we'll come back and do the boats. But let's have a look. Okay, so the next section is 43. We need to make 2 cranes, and I was quite surprised in this kit because not many kits will actually give you a hook, and this one actually did. So I was pretty happy about that. I was just studying this crane for a minute and also where it goes on, and to my surprise where it also latches on. I'm going to say for a 1/700 scale ship it's quite detailed, because I've had 1/350 scale that don't have the hooks and other bits and pieces. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed by it. I'm actually pretty impressed by the whole kit. There's lots and lots of detail for 1/700 ship. Okay, so let's get those parts ready. Looks like C150, C148, C149. Okay, let's do it easier. 147, 48, 49, 50, 51. That's better. Okay, so we have 147, 148, 149 here. 150 and 151. And I did notice this with a lot of the stuff on this sprue. They are all in the same area. So we'll get them off. So we'll do these one at a time rather than mix up all the parts. So there's all those parts there. I'm not going to really worry about cleaning them up. If they need it when it's together, I'll worry about it then. So I was just watching this for the last 5 minutes, just working out what's the best way to do this. I've come up with grab your 2 halves and put them together, because I do know that these pieces already fit, although I know this one's got plenty of spring in it. I'm probably going to say add that one though. So let me have a look. So there is your base. So you do have to put this other piece in. So what I'm going to suggest is let's put the base together first, just across the bottom here. That's all. So then we can open up the other side, slip that piece in, and then we can close the rest of this up. So while I've got you here, I'll just do exactly what I said, which is, let's leave that open just for a second, just to wick that in there and there. Let's close that up. Just like that, and then we can open up the other side. So I'll come back in a second. So the top is open, so while it's open, we'll grab our next piece and put that one in there, and we'll have to open the other side and put him in there. So what if I put him in that way first and then open him up just a little bit. Pretty hard to do this on camera. Give me a second. Oh, so there it is. Now this is all closed up, and I want to show you something. So that's all closed up. Now, I haven't filed this or done anything to it. The fit is not that good, because this is it closed up, and it naturally has a gap in there, and they're saying not to glue this part, which I understand. So you're going to have to kind of fill that up somehow, otherwise it's going to look terrible, because you will see that. That side's pretty good. Let's just glue that for the moment through the center and let that go off. And let's do the other side as well. Just while we're here, let's just put some glue on there, just on that joint, just through there. I do know sometimes when you cut the sprues off and you've got a little bit of white stuff there, if you glue it and melt it, it'll get rid of it. I think what I'm going to try and do there is I'm going to put some thicker Revell glue in there, if I can get the lid off, and take the glued off stuff in there, and we'll see if we can fill that gap up with a little bit of thick glue, because we can always dab it off with a bit of paint afterwards. So there's the glue. If it comes out, there we go. So that's it. We'll just let that sort of go off, and if it does go off, doesn't matter, because that piece needs to be back anyway. Which I was going to mention, make sure you put your, if you've done a bad paint job, put the painted section up at the front. So what we'll do is we'll leave him sit like that, and we'll put the crane bit on afterwards, because it does fit. So that's all that you need, just like that. So while he's drying, let's get the other one off. Keep that, keep that hook with that other one. So there's the other sprue, and there's our pieces off. So let's do exactly what we did with the other one on this one. So there's our next one closed up. It was a little better than the other one. I did wick some glue through the center and squashed it, and as you know, it melts the plastic, and it brought it together enough. So that one's now ready. And then I just used the extra thin to melt the other glue and that, and pushed it together, and it closed the other one up. So this is the one that had the big gap in it. So that's now been sorted out. Let's see if I can give you a closer look. Yeah, it looks bigger than what it is there. There's no gap there though. Okay, I've just made myself another coffee. Thank you very much. Now, I want to talk about these cranes just for 1 minute. Now, it does state to use some cotton. Where did it say that? I did see that somewhere. Hang on a second. Okay, I knew I'd seen cotton somewhere. So it's saying cotton or whatever for the rigging. It doesn't actually say cotton, but something. Now, I was just studying the crane, and I was kind of thinking it was alluding to the same thing, but it's not. They're basically saying, there's the crane there. Let's see if I can get that into one screen. So the crane goes in here, and I kind of thought that it meant thread across here, but being a 1/700 scale, excuse me, they're not saying that at all. They're basically saying put this up and just glue the hook on there. Now, this is your ship, and you can do whatever you want. You can put a line on there if you want. Just bring the line back. You can even hang the hook if you want. To be honest with you, and I'll be really honest with you, I don't have any of those hooks. And nobody actually really 3D makes them either, for a 350 scale ship. Where are they? They're down here. So I'm actually going to steal these hooks, because I want them for another ship. So I'm going to put the cranes up and just not put the last bit on over here, which just basically just glues onto it. So let's put those cranes together and put them on. So there is one, and basically they just push together. You can still move them because they're under their own tension. So that is one, like that. Let's put the other one on. Okay, and there's our other one on. So let's bring the ship over and put them on. Okay, there's the ship and there's our crane, and I've just tried to dry fit this, and I can tell you it's an absolute terrible fit. You will have to glue this down because there's no way it's going to sit there on its own. So let me just talk about this crane for 1 second. Let's put that crane where it says it's supposed to go on the ship, like that. And the crane part is supposed to be up here like that. It's a little fiddly. Let's try and do that again. Let's bring that up. Let's put that on. And as you can see, it's just a terrible fit. It's got to sit there like that and somehow like that. Basically on the ship. Sorry, I was a little jittery there. So what I'm going to suggest is, and the reason I'm showing you that is, that's where it says it's supposed to go on, and I'll bring the plan over and show you. So there is the plan. It's a terrible fit in this hole, and the top of the boom should sit on there with the little hook. I'm going to take the hooks and pretty much just rest the boom on there anyway, and I'm probably going to put a dab of glue on there. So I'm going to glue the base here and here and make this a non-movable part. So I've just glued the base with the Tamiya cement, only because it buys you a few minutes, and then I've sat that one there. So what I'll do is I'm going to glue this one up here, and then the other crane I'm going to sit in the other moving position as if it's picking something up. So that's what I'm going to do with those. So I suppose it'll show you one away, and then we'll turn the ship around that way, and then we'll show one being used. So I'll set this one up, and even though the plans say don't glue this, I've just glued this for that very reason. It's not going to stay where I want it to stay, and I want it to look like it's being used. So I'll glue this in its lockdown position. And then once this goes off, and I've used the extra thin on this, so it'll go off really quickly. And then I'm probably going to use the Tamiya cement. And then I can use the Tamiya cement to glue this one into position. Okay, that's now being glued. I just need to hang on to it, wait for the glue to go off. Probably put a little too much on there, but it's okay. We are hitting this ship with a bit of mat afterwards. It does want to fall forward, so just got to hold it there for a minute. So it's currently sitting there on its own, but it probably does want to fall forward. So we'll give that 5 minutes, just let it go off, because if I touch that ship, it's going to move now. So, and the other one's glued as well. So we'll just give them 5 minutes to go off. Let's see if it moves. Top of the crane at the top of the screen. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. Yes, it did drop just slightly. Look at that. Well, there's another view with them both in the background. Not bad. So that is our cranes done. Let's move on to, that's 43. Let's move on to 44. Oh, 44 is done. We have to glue them down. Okay, well, that's easy. Okay, what's next? Let's have a bit of a look here. Seems to be a lot of work in this mast. And I'm thinking that, so we're going to do the mast next for 45 and then obviously 46. So we technically got, in the end, we've got 1, 2, 3 masts and a little bit of structure to go on here. Yeah, okay. I think what's best now is now's the time to add the boats, because it might be difficult to add the boats afterwards while there's a mast in the way. So if we put the boats on there, we've got all the room we need, and then we can just sort of fit the mast in afterwards. So let's go back a little bit. So our first boat was actually on section 31, and this one hangs on the outside. This will be the very last boat that goes on after the mast, after everything, because that'll be too easily knocked off. So let's get E154 and G162. There's our G162, and that'll be the last of this sprue also. So that'll go with the D now finished. So I'll quickly cut those off. Try and keep them nice and neat and clean, because it is already painted. So there's our 162. And there is our other one. We'll quickly grab that one as well. Yeah, that's it. Nice. That's all that's left of our E sprue. So 154, there it is there. Just while I'm here, I once said that if you mess up on your paints, you can use this to take it off. And I want to know if it does it do that on that floor stuff. Let's soften it with a bit of glue. Oh, yeah, you can.
Probably not as good as cleaning off the, what is that, the colour line. It does, yeah, it takes it off. Nice and clean, look at that. I was a bit curious on that. You just use the glue to soften it, and then take it off. There we go, it's almost all gone.
There we go. So then, get it up into there. A bit more glue just here. Yeah, there's another piece gone. It's not as, like I said, it's not as easy as removing the other. There we go, there's another piece. So you can actually use the glue just to clean up. So I'll get rid of that piece as well. And there we have it all cleaned up. So while that one's drying, we'll get the next one ready. And here is why I mentioned how to clean it up, because I did notice when I did the floors on these, and I know they look terrible now, but when the varnish goes on, they'll look fantastic. But there is some overspill on those, which is why I'm mentioning how to clean it off. So that is 162 before, and there it is afterwards, gone. So we'll let them both go off. So there they are on one side, and we'll do the ship on the starboard side. And there they are on the other. We'll continue. Okay, let's just zoom out a bit there. That's better. So the next lot of boats we have are near the flue and the main superstructure. It looks like we have two that go onto each other, and then a 38 goes on there. So these are C163 and C162s again. So when you paint on the sprue and you cut them off, you end up with pieces like this. But if you get your glue and just run over it, you'll lessen it. And sometimes what I do is I just sit the boats in amongst my little clippers here, because it sort of like stabilizes it, and then I can drop the other one on top. Just like that. So there's one of the boats sitting on the crutch. Now, I actually didn't know what these were called, and one of these subscribers sent me a message and told me what they are. I used to call them boat holders. But thank you for that person who told me. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, but yes, thank you. Well, there is two more boats on there, and a larger one goes on the front here, so I'll grab that. Okay, there's quite a few more boats on. So there's 1, 2, 3 on this side. There's 2 down here. There's 2 up here. And we'll put the same on the other side. So there's all the boats on the rear of the structure and the front. Now, I do know they look a little crappy at the moment, but I suspect that when I put the varnish on there, it'll just highlight all this, much like the floor. So it's quite a lot of boats on there now. I've actually lost count. So what's left? I do believe there's another boat here and the same on the other side, and that's probably about it. Okay, that's the last of the boats on. So a couple here, and a couple up here. I'll just go along after to clean them up just a little bit. And yeah, so, and they're the same on the other side. I can actually roll the ship over because all the stuff that was falling off, I've taken off. So they're all on there as well. And I think this boat, I think this ship will come up really nice with a varnish on it. So anyway, I think we're just about out of time for today. So I think I'll leave it there. So we've got most of the guns on, most of the boats on. What's left? Well, we'll have to find out in the next episode. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.